There are women who still hate someone who no longer even thinks about them. Women who replay old conversations while trying to sleep. Women who imagine answers they never gave. Women who continue having silent arguments in their minds with people who moved on years ago. And the saddest part is that many of them believe hatred is protecting them. But it is not. Hatred does not protect. Hatred exhausts. It exhausts the mind. It exhausts the body. It exhausts the nervous system. It slowly exhausts the soul. Because while a woman continues feeding resentment, her body keeps reliving the pain as if it were still happening. And perhaps that is one of the most dangerous truths about resentment. The other person may already be gone, but the female body remains trapped inside the wound. The problem is that many women believe letting go means justifying what happened to them. They believe stopping the hatred means losing, but it does not. Choosing to let go is not losing. It is recovering your energy, recovering your mind, recovering the peace resentment has been silently consuming for years. Because hatred has real physical consequences. It is not only emotional. When a woman constantly feeds anger, pain, or resentment, the body produces cortisol for prolonged periods of time. The nervous system remains in survival mode. The mind relives the conflict over and over again as if preparing to defend itself once more. And eventually, the body becomes exhausted. Anxiety increases, sleep changes, inflammation rises, emotional regulation weakens, and slowly, a woman begins feeling tired even when nothing seems to be happening externally. Because resentment never truly rests. It stays inside the body. Many women believe hatred gives them power, but in reality, it keeps them emotionally connected to what destroyed them. Because whatever still controls your emotions, still controls part of your life. And perhaps that is where one of the deepest forms of feminine freedom begins. The moment a woman stops allowing an old wound to govern her inner peace. Because there are women who spend years emotionally surviving inside the same pain. Years reliving betrayals, years imagining silent revenge, years wondering why they were not enough, years carrying anger inside a body that is already exhausted. And meanwhile, life continues moving forward because resentment steals something that never comes back. Time, energy, presence, peace of mind. And perhaps many women do not realize how much emotional space hatred occupies until the day they finally stop carrying it. Because when a woman releases resentment, something inside her rests for the first time in years. The mind stops fighting constantly. The body stops preparing for emotional danger. The nervous system finally finds space to breathe. And no, that does not mean becoming naive. It does not mean allowing people to hurt you again. It does not mean forgetting what happened. It means stopping the destruction of your own peace by carrying pain that can no longer change the past. There are women so accustomed to emotional chaos that peace feels unfamiliar. Because the body can become addicted to conflict. It can become addicted to elevated cortisol. It can become addicted to emotional survival mode. And eventually, inner silence begins to feel uncomfortable. But emotionally wise women eventually understand something important. Peace of mind is more valuable than the need to be right. More valuable than silent revenge. More valuable than continuing to carry hatred for someone who no longer deserves space inside your mind. And perhaps that is inner mastery. not controlling others, controlling what you allow to remain inside you. Because true feminine power is not always about reacting. Sometimes it is about refusing to continue giving emotional energy to what no longer deserves to live inside your body. And yes, there are pains that change a woman, betrayals, abandonment, humiliation, loss. There are wounds that break entire versions of a person. But emotionally wise women learn that they cannot build a peaceful life while continuing to feed internally what destroys them. Because resentment slowly hardens the heart, and many women disconnect from themselves while trying to carry anger for too long. But eventually, a woman reaches a deeply liberating realization. She does not need to continue hating in order to prove she was hurt. She does not need to stay bitter in order to validate her pain. She does not need to carry rage forever to prove something was unfair. Because prolonged suffering does not change the past. It only destroys the present. And perhaps today, many women need to hear this. You were not born to live emotionally exhausted by old wounds. You were not born to spend years surviving inside resentment. You were not born to give your life energy to people who are no longer part of your life. You were born to live with more calm, more clarity, more inner peace. And perhaps that is why truly strong women are not the ones who carry hatred forever. They are the ones who finally learn how to free themselves from it. Because the woman who releases hatred is not forgiving the other person. She is freeing herself, recovering sleep, recovering emotional lightness, recovering inner silence, recovering mental space to live again. And from there, something new begins. A life that feels lighter, less reactive, less controlled by the past. Because protecting your peace is also a form of self-respect. And if something you heard today resonated with you, there is more wisdom here every week. Walk this path with us. Welcome to Sophia Stoica.